So I'm going to try this out for the first time today. So a little bit of a waterfall shoot, a little bit of a freezing cold day on the hills just north of Glasgow, and a little bit of a gear review. Welcome to Scotland, and it's a lovely afternoon, so I'm just going to head out to a location that I've been to a couple of times before, but I don't think I've ever vlogged from there. It's a lovely waterfall called Blairskaith Linn. Ooh, it's chilly today. So we've arrived at this little woodland. Let me just move you over and you can see. You can just see the start of the woodland there. This is where the waterfall I'm going to shoot is. And I'm here to do two things really, because I've also recently managed to finally, something I've been looking for a long time, I've finally managed to grab a geared tripod head, which I've been looking for some time. Now, my main tripod, it's an Artcise tripod, which I absolutely love because it has this leveling cup system in it. So I'm just about to install this. There we go. So I've now got swappable heads, one for the gimbal type head that I use for shooting wildlife, and one for the geared head for the landscapes. So I'm going to try this out for the first time today. So a little bit of a waterfall shoot, a little bit of a freezing cold day on the hills just north of Glasgow, and a little bit of a gear review. So I popped the coat on. I don't think it's going to rain, but it'll help keep a little bit of this chill wind out. So onwards to the waterfall. I might just start by walking along the top, seeing if there's a nice autumn view with some of these leaves that are turning gold. That down there is the stream, the wee burn that feeds the waterfall, and it doesn't look like there's an enormous amount of water running today, so I'm not sure how much of a fall we'll get when we get there. Well, I do kind of like this big old fallen tree. That must have come down in that most recent storm. The split still looks very new. Sadly, the tree behind it is still mostly green. Well, enough of an explore to see that there isn't really a nice autumn scene along this footpath. Although there's been a tremendous amount of small bird activity. Definitely some kind of finches, chaffinches I think, and maybe some tree or hedge sparrows, maybe some tits, I'm not certain. They were a little far away, so once I'm finished with the waterfall, I might just put the big lens on. In the meantime, we're going to head down and into the woodland and go and see that waterfall. Well, I think you can probably hear the waterfall now, and it's just round this last bend. Sort of hidden by the trees at the moment. Let's get a bit closer. Now, of course, the best viewpoint is actually down there at the stream after the falls. So I'm going to try and make my way down there, and I don't think I'll be able to hold the camera while I do. So I'm going to have to put you away for a minute while I try and negotiate this little ledge. Well, I made it to here, and you can see the whole of the cave from here. And actually, it's not a bad shot from here. So I'm going to set up and take my first one. So, starting as I usually do, just handheld. I've got the 24 to 105 on. I'm just going to look around and see if I can find the right spot, and then I'll set up the tripod if needed. And I don't like the way this tree's cutting off the end of the cave. So I'm just going to move around a little bit and see if I can get that out the way without losing the left-hand edge. And of course, I'm now a tiny bit lower, so I've actually lost the end of the very top falls. You can see there's 3 stages. I need to be up there. And I don't think I can manage that. Well, it's okay, but I'm not 100%. I think I need to be that little bit closer, so I'm probably going to have to swap to the 14 to 35, get that little bit closer, and see if I can find a step ladder to stand up on. Yeah, so that's at round about 21, 22 millimeters. Just that little bit wider than my 24 gave me. I'm still a little disappointed that I'm not getting the very top of that top waterfall in, but at least you can see the water coming down it. Now, that was just a quick handheld test shot at a 50th of a second. And obviously I want some movement in that water. So I'm going to stop down, just try a handheld at f8, which says I need a 15th of a second. Let's hope my IBIS can cope with that. Seems to have done a pretty good job actually. But a 15th of a second is just not slow enough for the water. So I am going to try a slower one. Wouldn't you know it? Between the lens stabilisation and the IBIS, this has come out all right. A quarter of a second. I'm amazed. I'm absolutely astonished. But I do want a really... Oh, look at the way the light is hitting that water at the moment. I've got to. Oh, that is lovely. But I am going to want a really long exposure. So I'm going to dig the tripod and the filters out, and we'll set up for that. Well, the tripod's nice and level. I do believe... Oh, wait. I do believe we're there. Now, I don't want F22, so I'm going to drop that back down to F11. I've just taken a quarter of a second at F11, held on the tripod so I know it's going to be okay. I'm just going to try it with the CPL. Fine-tuning the CPL is a little difficult in this light. I think that's a third of a second. And that's a nice exposure, and it's got rid of some of those reflections. leaving us with the water trails, and they're still very trail-like. So here's the new Artcise Geared Head in operation, and it's actually very easy to use, and I'll go through the mechanics of it, somewhat less precarious than the side of a hill next to a waterfall, but it does make life that little bit easier when you're making micro adjustments to your composition. So I think that's about all I can manage from this position. I am going to see if I can work my way down and see if I can get a shot. I'll obviously lose the very top one from there, and see if I can work my way down and getting some of the spray at the bottom. So I'm going to see if I can head down. And I'm going to do this in careful stages. I'm not taking the camera and everything in one go. Well, there we are, safely down. Got to be really careful here. These boulders are really slippery, so this is a good chance to slip and fall on your back end, or worse, break an ankle, and then we'd really be in trouble. So let's have a look around. So from here we do get quite a dramatic view of the waterfall, but of course we lose the top falls. The very top one is now hidden behind the middle one, and I'm thinking I'm going to have to go vertical here. So we're just going to have to set up and see. So I've come out a wee bit further into the middle of the stream here, just to get a slightly different angle on it. Again, I'm still shooting at, what am I at now? It's about 17mm, something like that. And I've got a lovely foreground here with these fallen leaves and the rock. So I've got the polarizer on just to cut some of those reflections out. It's not on full. But I'm going to have to blend the exposure, because now the top half at a quarter of a second f11 is overexposed. So I need to reduce that. Yeah, so that's a 20th of a second for the top part, but the bottom part down here actually needs a lot more of an exposure. 0.4 of a second. So I'm going to have to blend these. I'm also going to have to try and blend the speed a little bit, because at a quarter of a second the water is just too milky. So I'm trying various other shutter speeds in between, and we'll just choose the best ones. Now, I'm not going to take the camera in, but I will take you in to the inside of the cave just to have a wee look, see what it looks like looking out through the waterfall. In the meantime, I'm going to put this away and we'll head back up that bank. And we're going to head up into the cave. Very low in here. Coming around. And there's the view from inside the cave. So I had a little bit of a look, just in case there's a shot looking out. I didn't really see anything. So I think we're done for the waterfall and the cave. So let's make our way back up to the car. So all those birds that I saw earlier seem to have gone away. So let's have a closer look at this geared tripod head. First of all, and most basic of all, it does have a standard pano grip. Now it's solid. Then it also has a pano adjustment, and the knob, you turn it and it turns, as you can see, by very small amounts. You can see up here the pointer showing you how far you're turning. But each of the gears also has a quick release, which releases the whole thing to free movement. So for larger movements, you can turn it quite away and then fine tune it with a little knob. And that's the same on all three of these. Moving to this one, again the quick release, or you can turn it and this tilts left and right from the horizontal. And then the final one is obviously our tilt down and up, and again it has the free followed by, and again looking at the bubble in the top plate, you can adjust until it's horizontal, or you can adjust to suit whatever comp you're trying to set up. And I have to say, I've wanted one of these for a long time, and I've been very impressed with my Artcise carbon fibre tripod up until now. So I decided to go with Artcise again for my geared tripod head. Now, this video is not sponsored by Artcise in any way, shape or form. I bought these items myself with my own money from Amazon. Would I buy them again? Oh yes, definitely. So thanks for watching my little visit to Blairskaith Linn Waterfall, and a little bit of a first use gear review of my Artcise Geared Tripod Head. So I'm going to head back to my mum's now and start thinking about dinner. So thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you can, and I'll see you on my next adventure, wherever that may be.